dream fulfilled, insights, events to come and the cream of the crop. This was originally written on Saturday the 27th of June 2020. I had a dream on the 11th of April 2020. There is a lot to cover in this video. I have been praying the past week to test the spirit. I have now asked to be shown visions rather than dreams to be certain the events are from the Lord. One must always test the spirit. So I did not have any dreams for the past few weeks, and I was pondering writing about Sina van Rensburg's vision regarding Palestine. I was thinking about this for a few days when I had a vision. I will discuss Palestine in another video and how this dream fits into the seer's Palestine vision and how I see events playing out. That vision showed me many prominent, high-profile and very wealthy American Jewish people are going to be arrested in America. Many prominent Jewish Americans are going to be arrested for working against the US, and it revolves around the stability and future of Israel. This ties into what the seer said about Palestine and the future of Palestine. When the seer had the vision, the state of Israel did not yet exist. His vision involves Israel, and this sting operation where many prominent American Jews are going to be arrested fulfills a few dreams of my own. It is linked to the Palestine vision of Van Rensburg and a dream I had of Turkey paving over the roads America paved this past century and Turkey rolling down into Africa. There is a lot I want to cover in this video. I consider it to be very important, and this video links to what I was shown in previous streams. Starting off with the Syndicate dream vision I had on the 11th of April 2020. In that dream I had two messages. One message for a prep organization in South Africa and a media campaign that is going to be launched against them. It is to destroy the organization and make their members lose faith. The media campaign will run along the lines of the group telling members they would be able to flee to a different location and that under lockdown they could not do this. They will be made out to be a fraud, but it is a concerted media effort to break the groups up. I am warning you, prepare your counter-argument or see your membership dwindle. In the same dream I was shown syndicates operating in South Africa, going to rural businesses and farms, arriving in vehicles which were more like convoys of vehicles to kick the business owners and farmers from those lands. This portion of the dream is now fulfilled. It is happening. It will continue to happen, and in the video on the map I point out the main locations where I see this taking place. Now 10 minutes before I was about to write this, I was making myself some lunch and listening to my Bible on the afternoon of the 27th of June 2020. I was listening and my mind went to the Syndicates dream I had while listening to the Bible. And the question came into my mind out of the blue, like someone echoed it. Like someone threw some sound stick that traveled and hit me so hard that I was left stunned, and the question fulfills another dream. When I was younger, this is the reason I stopped listening and reading my Bible. I would see things about to unfold and get afraid. Then years later, oh how mighty is the Lord, to be shown events for the nation. You, O children of Jacob, beyond the rivers of Cush, the Lord is with you. Take note and take heed. The question came to me while listening to my Bible and thinking of those syndicates I saw operating and taking over businesses. Where are all those soldiers that were deployed during the COVID operation? And immediately the words came to me, under the cover of darkness. I told you about the under the cover of darkness dream of soldiers being moved under the cover of darkness last year, a few months before the lockdown occurred. I told you in a previous stream, the angel of the Lord appeared to me in the dream saying, the nation will be free in 8 months, their bondage chains will come undone. Their century of bondage will be over, and then I was shown the chains fell off the nation's wrists. 8 months from that date was March 2020, which was lockdown. The angel told me to send a message to England, and those living in England flee. Leave and flee England fast. I saw war troubles in the background, Russia shaking violently, missiles pointed in England's direction. So how or where does this fit into the dream or dreams being fulfilled? And where are those soldiers? Those soldiers are now with the syndicates taking over these property and businesses. These are those former MK vets. They are now taking the land. They will be now pushing ahead with this. The pension funds are about to be tapped. The rad is about to crash in the coming weeks or months, and then the nation will be reborn and bend the knee. Until then, the government is going to try to keep you occupied. They will do so with the job losses. They will do so with crime, letting prisoners out of the jails. They will use the EFF to make a louder noise. When the rand crashes, millions, 20 to 30 million illegals pack their bags and snake up the continent on their way to Europe. I saw the tactics the nation would use when they fight differently. I have made provisions that it will be revealed to the right people when these events take place should anything happen to me. The message will be delivered to the right people on how this will unfold and the methods, tactics, strategy used to remove the heathen from the land. In the meantime, the syndicates are operating in the western portion of the country all the way to the borders of the Cape. This could relate to another dream on the other channel about the Swazi king being angry because the border is disrupted. South Africa's borders are changed and could tie into the century of bondage coming undone. The other thing to consider is that I had the vision about American stingers. YouTube now has removed the one video about these American stingers where I showed footage of vehicles being moved from Namibia to Botswana. That is American hardware. You must remember one thing when I am shown the dream. I do not know the full unraveling and am left guessing until it comes to pass. Sometimes they are literal and happen just as shown, and until they do, we are left guessing how they will unfold. I saw in the vision that there is going to be a war between America and China with a Chinese-backed revolution on our northern borders in southern Africa. The Americans win the war from the lessons learned in Vietnam. These syndicates could possibly be part of the Chinese-led revolution, and this is where all those troops around the country have been moved to. Now I had an insight just 2 days back that is so crazy, so bizarre that I have to include it here. It just came to me like a boomerang and nearly knocked me off my feet. This is a very risky thing to mention because on the one hand it feels like a vision and on the other feels like a insight. It revolves around America and Black Lives Matter along with Antifa and what we see going on right now in America with the destruction of monuments and race rioting. This insight, thought or vision, I don't know what it was, but I saw Trump take the podium and once again he lashes the media. I am going to make a bold statement and one that only the Lord can fulfill and make happen. Should you or I see it, then we shall have no doubt that it is from the Most High, the Lord God of Israel. If it pleases the Lord, may it be fulfilled. Again, I repeat, this is not some fantasy, this is something like a vision, insight, where not only do I see it, I hear it. I see Trump go onto the podium before the patriot Americans all waving their flags. I see thousands of them in an open area. This is not in a stadium, this is in the open and there is no cover or roof above their heads. I see he says the media is biased and doesn't report their truth. He asks why does the media not cover the genocide of the whites in South Africa. Now when I saw this, I thought my oh my. I saw his entire re-election campaign was won on these statements and how the earth trembled and a new white rising ushered and the earth trembled from America to Australia like a ripple hitting the earth. I saw how Steve Bannon uses this in his talks and how they speak about China in Africa and what's happening to South Africa. This could tie in with the Chinese-led revolution and America stepping in here. This is why that hardware was sent here. After I saw and heard this, I thought certainly I cannot put something like this up. The people will think this is crazy. Why would Trump say or mention South Africa during an election? We shall see. It is a few months from now. Perhaps the Americans use South Africa as an example and expose the media and to show support to not lose this sea route. This could possibly be when the spotlight dream fulfills and is on Ramaphosa. Now someone sent me a video about an American saying he had a dream from God about Cyril being assassinated. I thought about that. I don't know, because in the dream I had the spotlight shone so bright once the media collapses due to terrorist attacks taking place in Europe that the focus will be South Africa. Perhaps all these things converge in the coming months. When I saw Ramaphosa on the stage, the ANC were behind the stage wall where people keep props and equipment for theatre plays. I could see through the wall in this dream. The ANC had no leaders, only seniors, and they were talking but nothing was happening. They turned their back on Ramaphosa. This is why Ramaphosa was alone on the stage when the new media, the one to come which replaces this media, takes place to replace the present mainstream media. There is so much I want to cover without making these videos too long. The other issue is Turkey rolling down Africa. I told you which all the dreams mentioned can be found on the other channel without an edit from the day they were uploaded. Turkey is going to gather an army so large in Libya you will see it from space, and then she looks south. She comes rolling down Africa, stopping at Botswana. It will not be Turks, the bulk of the army will be Pakistani and Bangladeshi Islamic troops. When I had the dream about Turkey paving over the roads America laid and that the American troops were sitting on the side of the road, on the ground with their knees up holding their legs, heads between their legs, and they were despondent. In this dream, which I had months before I saw the troops amassing in Libya, the words came to me in the dream: CAR, Central African Republic. The American soldiers will be despondent and demoralized because of events taking place in America. Turkey is carving out Africa from Libya right down to the equator. At first she comes right down to our borders, but this is only to displace the heathens in this area. This is for their future caliphate. The caliphate will touch the future Boer Republic's borders at the equator. Her caliphate will stretch into southern Europe, right into Spain. There will be Japanese troops sent around Malawi, Mozambique. They will be well prepared, a tight-knit Japanese unit. It will be quite a large unit. I see them sitting tight in the bush, full camouflage gear. There is a scramble for Africa, that is from Libya down to the equator, by Asian nations, especially the Islamic nations around Turkmenistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, and Asiatic nations like Malaysia and the less spoken about Asian nations. With the Turk rolling into Africa, it will threaten the existence of Palestine. This is the reason those arrests take place in America in the vision I saw. The high-ranking Jewish leaders of business working against American interests will be arrested in the night. Many people will be taken down at once in a sting operation. There is a divide between the Israeli Jews and American Jews. Israel, or Palestine according to the seer, is about to fight for her very existence. If America is weakened, she will fall faster, and the Ottoman Turk will take back all its territory. If the sting operation arresting those working against the USDIDNT take place, it puts the security of Israel at risk with the Turk. This Turk paving over the road the Americans laid for the since 1948 is going to be the unraveling of North Africa, Central Africa, and its effects will be felt in Southern Africa. This, as I mentioned previously, is from the Lord. The Turk is being used by God to remove all the corrupt governments in Central Africa, but the real reason is to create a vacuum and empty the space for the coming Boer Republic, which will fill the vacuum when the Turk leaves those locations. The Turk will only leave those locations once events the seer spoke about have come to pass, that is, Russia and Turkey set off World War III. Until then, the Turk is going to be digging up and repaving the roads the Americans paved, and there is nothing America will be able to do because of events happening in America. This is where those arrests come into play. The sting operation will be to clean up America internally for the future survival of Israel, but it will be too little too late. South Africa is going to be covered more and more by the Americans, and if the inside vision of Trump speaking about South Africa during election rallies is going to be the thing which causes South Africa to be on the minds of the white world. That video, like all of them, is up there unchanged till this day. Now we can see it is fulfilled, and still more is to come. Now we know why the soldiers cannot fight overseas.